Welcome to Hewnlife. My name is Sumba Ademola, and today's topic that we'll be discussing will be singleness in today's society. My guest today is Pastor Michael Omawumi Efueye.
Thank you. It's a joy to be here.
Singleness has become a minefield for men and women in this society. We're finding and we're experiencing that people that we know are getting married later and later into their late 30s and early 40s. People are struggling to find Mr. or Mrs. Right and trying to avoid Mr. or Mrs. Right now. We know your passion has been empowering and assisting people to achieve their full potential during their period of singleness, so that they can build healthy and lasting foundations for a good marriage union and stable family network.
That's true. That's exactly what we feel needs to be done in these times.
So, the big question, I'm going to hit you with it. Singleness, is it a problem? Or should we view it in a different way? I know a lot of people are struggling during this period of waiting. Can you expand upon what your views are in relation to that?
Well, first of all, I want to apologize on behalf of all pastors and ministers in relation to how we refer to singles. Have you noticed every time we talk about singles, we lump them with those who are sick? So we say, let's pray for those who are sick, those
True.
who are infirm, those who are
Very
unemployed, and the singles. As though singleness is some kind of disease that needs to be scourged, and people who are single need to be avoided. And even in church, you find that people who are single feel like they're ostracized, as if they're made to feel like that they're less than human. And that really is very unfortunate. Singleness is actually the state that everybody is in at one point or the other. Everybody must go through a period of singleness. So those who are married were once single. And singleness is actually a season of opportunity rather than a threat, rather than a scourge. And if you look at some of the most effective people in history, they were single. And even the Lord Jesus, who's the author and finisher of our faith, was single. So singleness shouldn't be looked at as a scourge. It should be looked at as an opportunity. It's actually a time of developing to be the best that you can be.
So not to be depressed and be forlorn and be wondering when is he or she going to come so that I can manifest as the person that I was meant to be.
No, you actually have to be the person you were meant to be before you meet that person. Because the Bible talks about marriage as being a union of two wholes. So it's not actually two halves. You hear people talk about my better half.
One. Yes.
Yeah, you hear my better half, but that's actually technically wrong. You're not half. You're a whole human being, and it's only when you're complete in yourself, when you're comfortable in your own skin, that you can actually be to somebody a good husband or a good wife. So singleness is a period of development. It's a period of growth. It's a period of being the very best that you can be. It's a period of recognizing who you are, what your shortcomings are, what your strengths are, and trying to develop and cultivate yourself to the best of your abilities. I think that there are 5 things that you should be looking at when you're single. There are 5 areas.
Tell us about it.
Yes. First of all, you should be looking at your identity. Who am I? Who am I? And that it's not just your sexual identity, male or female.
Yes.
There is also who am I in God? Who am I in terms of what I was created to be? Okay, and then. So once those are things that you should come to grips with as a single person. And then the second thing that you should be looking at is my purpose. Why am I here? Why am I on this earth? What am I supposed to be doing? You see, a lot of people think that somehow when they get married, their purpose will suddenly manifest with marriage. No. That's marriage is another dimension or another expression of who and what you were called to be.
So not the sum total
It's
of
not
who
the sum
you
total.
are.
No. It's
Yes.
just another. It's another phase, if you permit me to use that word. So
Okay.
you got to discover your purpose. Then you've got to discover your heritage. Where am I from? Because when you discover or determine where you are from, it helps you. That's why we study history, so that we don't repeat the
Okay.
mistakes of the past.
Wow.
What's my heritage? You see, if you look at the royal family,
Yes.
what drives them is their heritage. The fact that
Of course, the
we are
tradition and the customs.
royalty.
Yeah.
This is who we are. So there are certain things that other people are allowed to do that we don't do because of who we are, where we're coming from. So the heritage is very, very critical. And in the light of Christianity, your heritage is not just I'm British, I have a British passport, or I'm Nigerian by culture or by birth or something. It's your kingdom heritage. I am a person who belongs to this kingdom, and Jesus is the king of that kingdom, and I have a part to play in that kingdom. I'm a vital and crucial member of that kingdom. And then you look at your potential. What can I do? What am I capable of doing? What gifts and graces are placed in me to be the best that I can be, which I have to express for the greater good of the larger community in which I'm domiciled? And then finally, you're looking at your destiny or destination. Where am I headed?
Okay.
Okay. Now, once you can answer these 5 questions as a single person, then you are good to go. You're ready to get married. Because you see, when somebody comes, let's say you're a man, if you're not going anywhere, what do you need a wife for? What do you need a helpmeet for? Your wife comes to be the one who helps you attain a destiny or get to a destination. And if you were not going anywhere, what do you need help? What do you need help for? It's like you get into your car and you're going nowhere and you need a sat nav, or you need a chief flight engineer. No. So you're going somewhere. You have gifts that need to be expressed, and so these are the things. These are the things that you need to understand in yourself as a single person before you even think about the idea of getting married.
Wow, that's a lot. So you're saying basically that as a single person, you need to find yourself. You need to know who you are. You need to know
where you're
from, and then
know what you can do
or what you ought to be
doing. Yes.
And you do it to the best that you can do it.
Of your abilities, yes.
And then
you're ready to.
You'll be in a position to then say, I'm ready. So a lot of people believe that they're ready, but from the description you've given us, I don't think a lot of people will pass muster.
No, because let's put it this way. If you, as a young lady, want the best husband, you want somebody who's developed himself.
Prepared.
Who's prepared, who's going to look after you, who's not going to come and be a liability to you, but an asset. And so you owe that person the duty of also cultivating yourself to be the very best that you can be before you go out to be. So what I say to young women is, rather than sit there waiting for Mr. Right, or Mr. Right now, as you said it's time for you to develop yourself. Build up yourself in your faith and in your career and in your purposes and in your being a blessing to the larger community in which you are, to the point where people actually begin to look at you and desire you. They want you because they know that why do people employ certain people? Because they look at them and say, the way that this person's CV tells me that he will be a blessing to my organization. And that's how it should be with your personal relationships too. People should look at you and say, I want to be your friend because I know you're going to increase me. Rather than, oh, here he comes again, turn off your phone, or pretend you didn't see him or see her.
So not just a pretty face, but someone that is actually
or just a handsome face too.
Oh, well.
Or muscular.
And a great body
and
or
a great
anything.
body and all that, yes.
So essentially you're saying maximize your time as a single person until you then get to that point when you meet the right person. Then moving on to my second question is about, how do you know when Mr. Right has arrived or Mrs. Right is here? How do you... So many people can express an interest in you. How
do you know the right person?
Yes.
And is there a right person, I think, is another very important question. The answer to that is yes and no. permit the ambiguity, but I'll explain.
Okay.
What it is this. There are certain people or certain types that will enhance you.
Not attract you?
Not necessarily attract you, but enhance you. They're good for you. Okay? Let's say, for example, you are loud and boisterous and the life of the party kind of person. You don't really want another loud and boisterous life of the party kind of person because there'll be too much of a clash of a personality. So you want somebody who will tone you down a little bit, somebody who will sort of like cool you down.
Okay.
So there are issues. You've got to know what are my strengths, what are my weaknesses. Yes, your personalities fit
and complement each other.
Okay. And that's why it's important that you've answered all those questions, because once you know what your strengths are, then you know what your weaknesses are, and then you know who can come in and enhance your weakness. You see, when you apply for a job, I'm using the job analogy a lot because it's sort of like that's life. It applies. Yes, when you apply for a job, they want to know what your strengths and weaknesses are so that they can play to your strengths and build you up in your weaknesses. That's why if you fiddle your CV and lie about certain things, they put you get a job and you find that you are not equipped for it because they don't know your weaknesses and they don't know your strengths, and
you're having to fudge
You are having to, yes, and so you just don't fit in. But once you know that, when somebody comes into your life, then you're able to tell whether they complement you or they don't. And there are several things that you look out for. For example, there must be a convergence of certain things. Okay. The Bible says that two cannot walk together unless they are in agreement. Okay. So there must be a convergence, first of all, of your faith. Okay, your faith is critical to who you are, or your lack of faith. If you're an atheist, for example, and you don't believe that there is a God. So you have the
same standpoint.
Yes, you have to have the same standpoint, because if I believe there's a God and you don't believe there's a God, how are we going to work together? Well,
with great difficulty.
It's impossible, really. It's not going to work. The Bible calls it unequal yoking. So you're coming first of all from your spiritual perspective, because that's the essence of who you are.
Yes.
All right, and then once that's established, then you start to look at some natural parameters. Okay. Physical attraction. Okay.
Is that necessary?
I think
always necessary.
I think it's important. You see, this is somebody you're going to live with for the rest of your life. They had better turn you on. You had better find them attractive.
Well, some people can say God said.
Yes. Well, if God said and you don't feel, then what you do is you go to God to work on it until you feel, because you are not going to be able to carry off a relationship where you don't feel. So, and I know that God can say somebody, and we know that there are people that we've met that we didn't like initially, and then we grew to love them. So love can develop, attraction can develop, So I'm not against the fact that, I didn't like him when I first met him, therefore that he can't be the one. No, that doesn't always work that way. But what I'm saying is, until that attraction is there, you are not to go forward, because it is critical that there is that physical attraction. Then there must also be a convergence of backgrounds and experiences. Okay. And even if your backgrounds and experiences are not the same, you are heading in the same direction. Okay. So if somebody, not so diverse that one of you he hasn't got any O levels or anything, the other is a professor with 3 doctorate degrees. What's going to happen is there's not going to be any common ground. On what level are you going? Yet, if somebody only has O levels and you're a professor and he's aspiring to be a professor, then you're going to find that you're going to have common ground. And as the years go on, the ground will close up. You understand? So there's a convergence of backgrounds and experiences. Then there is also you're looking at character traits. Okay. There's something I always say. You must have your core values. Okay. What are your core values? Don't compromise on your core values when you're married.
Can you give us some examples, please?
Oh, let's say, for example, I can't stand it when people are dishonest or lie. Okay. And then you meet somebody who doesn't mind just,
bending the truth
a little bit, a white lie here, an official lie there, and everything. It's going to grate on your nerves until one day you snap. So your core values, the things that you hold let's say, for example, you hold family values very, very dear. I don't believe in divorce. And the guy's like, oh, no, divorce is okay. If we're not getting on, then I believe that you should just leave. Hello? That's not going to work. So core values have to do with the things that you hold dearest, the things, your values, your value system, your principles and priorities. Okay? If those are not in place, don't marry somebody who does not have those core values in place at the time you meet them, because they may never acquire those things.
Could they not develop it?
I don't think you deal with core values. I don't think you do that with core values. You can do that with...
So that's the work that they do before?
Attraction, yes. You can do that with attraction. You can do that with feelings. You can do that with professions, jobs. You can do certain things that people can develop. But core values have to do with, the very essence of who I am and how I make my decisions, my life decisions. So a lot of women marry guys and say, I will change him.
That's a risky business.
It's not just a risky business, crazy business. So I would. So character traits, backgrounds. Then you look at things like their family, their backgrounds. How do they treat their family? So if you're going to marry a man, how does he treat his mother? How does he treat his sisters? How does he treat the women around him? That's how he's going to treat you. If a man's going to marry a woman, how does she treat her father? How does she treat her brothers? Maybe
they don't have a good relationship, and
no. But you see, if there's respect, for example, they may not have a good relationship, but there'll be respect.
Okay,
do you get
that's
what I mean?
fair enough.
Yes. So, but if they treat them in that, like with no regard, whatever, then what's the guarantee that they're going to treat you with regard? If the core people in their lives are treated in that manner, you who are going to be the core person are going to be treated in that manner. Then their friends. Show me your friends and I'll tell you who you are. Who do they hang out around? And the Bible says, don't be deceived. Evil communication corrupts good manners. So you can't be a good person hanging around bad people and remain good.
Maybe they're trying to change them?
No, leave that to God.
Okay, so it's not just about attraction. That's not the first thing. And it's not because he or she can look after you. You seem to be suggesting that there's a lot of work that you need to do to be able to then decipher who is the right one for you. One,
yes. Wow. So when all these things are in place, then I think that's when you start to pray. If you're a Christian, you begin to ask the Lord.
Before?
Yes. Oh, yes.
So you get all of that.
You get all of that. Before you start praying.
Not pray and
then. Yes, because if you decide you're going to marry the person before you start to pray, then you're just going to get an answer that you want to get. Because you're already sold. It's a decision you've already made in your mind. But if you check that this and this are not in place, and it's all right if some things are not in place and you go to pray, because God may say, don't worry about that. I'm working on it. He's working on it. He's there. He doesn't have a job now, but he's going to have one. Blah, blah, and all that. And by the way, you don't marry somebody who hasn't, if you're a woman, don't marry somebody who hasn't got a job.
Wow. What do you mean? What do you mean? Maybe he's just at a low ebb in his family.
Wait till that low ebb passes before you marry. Because marriage is, one, it's expensive business. And then two, he has a role to play in your life, just as you have a role to play in his life. So how's he going to play the role if he does not have a job?
Wow.
Okay? How's he going to play that role?
Well, maybe it's temporary.
Yeah, that's why your decision should wait until that temporary season passes.
Okay, that's fair enough.
I'm not saying don't marry him. I'm just saying don't marry him until he gets a job.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay then, moving on. Pastor.
Yes.
What's your view on meeting people online and internet dating? Is it right? Is it wrong?
No, I don't think we're talking about right or wrong now. There's absolutely nothing wrong. It's like the internet, Yeah. Some people say because there's pornography on the internet,
it's all evil.
It's all evil. No. The internet is probably one of the greatest inventions of our generation, and it's probably one of the greatest blessings to our generation. Yes. But at the same time, like everything else, just like electricity was, a great invention, or discovery in the industrial age. But electricity kills as well, doesn't it?
It does.
So it has its dangers. So what we need to do is just find out what are the dangers, and then work with its strengths and try to block off its dangers, especially for our children. But internet dating, I think you see, we meet people in different ways in contemporary society. And social media is a very, 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 very active and critical part of what we do today. So you're going to meet people on the internet. We apply for jobs on the internet and we get them. We buy tickets on the internet. We do a lot of our business on the internet. And then we're all on social media sites. We're on Facebook, we're Snapchat, we're different. So we're making friends, we're catching up with old friends, and then we're being connected to friends of friends.
True.
So you're going to meet people that way. So I haven't got a problem with people meeting on the internet at all. I have absolutely no problem with it. But what I would say is this. There is a danger that you have to watch out for. You see, for example, if you buy stuff on the internet, or you buy with your credit card online, there are certain safeguards that are put in place. There's a longer period of being able to return because you were not able to test the thing before. There's a return policy that is a lot more generous than if you bought it in a shop and all that kind of stuff. So that's what I would say about internet dating. You have to also you have to do the due diligence, because on the internet, not everything is what it appears to be.
Yes.
So you have to check and make sure that, I remember a pastor friend of mine invited me to be his friend on Facebook, and I accepted his friendship, and then the next thing he was asking me to send him money. So I now called him on his line and I said, that wasn't me. That somebody's using, has hacked into his account and all that. So, I could have sent the money and, I would have been, the fool for that. But what I'm saying, so you don't know, not everything is what it appears on the internet. So you've got to do your due diligence as well. For example, somebody recently asked me to buy some land in Lekki, in Lagos, in Nigeria. And so what I said to them is, okay, I said, fine, send me the proposals for the land, and then send me a list of your reputable clients and their phone numbers who have previously purchased from you, so that I can get in touch with them and find out whether. Now, that you have to do your due diligence. Now, in everything, you have to do due diligence. With the internet, because it's not a personal or face-to-face thing, you have to do even more. So if you meet somebody on the internet, first of all, make sure that the picture is the same, the person is the same, the age is the same, the race is the same, the sex is the same. Make sure it's the right person. Make sure, do all your due diligence, call up friends of friends, and it's very easy to check up on information that you get and everything, and then then you can continue. But don't meet somebody until you have done. Don't offer to meet somebody, because you endanger yourself, like on the chat rooms and all that. There are warnings anyway as to how to deal with chat rooms and deal with people you meet on the internet. So make sure that you do your due diligence and then do it. Keep safe. Do it again and again and again and again until you are confident that the person is who they say they are, and they are what you want them. They are what you want, because it's not enough for them to be who they say they are. If they are not what you want, then you have no business getting money. Yeah. So that's my thought on that.
Okay, that's very interesting. So what's your take on long distance relationships then? If you say internet dating and social media, meeting people on such a forum is acceptable, do they work? Can they work?
They do work, and they can work. But again, you see, if I say to many young people that if you're going to, you should really not be thinking of marrying a person until you have known them well for at least a year. And by well, I mean well. You've related on a face-to-face basis. You've talked. You've visited each other. You've seen each other. You know each other's friends for at least a year.
Whole year.
Oh yes, because you see, it takes at least a year for you to get to know somebody. A person can conceal who they are for 6 months, but after 6 months, the cracks in the armor will begin to show. The lies they told in month 1, they would have forgotten it in month 7. you know, so you will begin to see the cracks, you know. So it takes at least a year. It takes at least a year, and it only makes sense. What's the rush? You're going to be with that person for the rest of your life. So why are you rushing? Take it easy. If in doubt, slow down, wait.
Wow.
If they're the right person, they'll be ready to wait. If they're not, if they're in a hurry, then they have something to hide.
But there's some situations that I know some people have met.
And married within 3 months.
Yes, and they've had a successful marriage.
That's the odd exception. And the fact that it worked for them doesn't mean it was the right thing to do.
Oh. What do you mean by that?
Doesn't mean it was the right thing to do.
Maybe God said that
you get the right. No, God will never violate his principles, because his principle is that you need to go through a proper preparatory process. So now, let's get back to long distance relationships, which was what we were talking about.
Yeah.
Now, if it takes at least a year for a face-to-face relationship, how long do you think it should take for a long-distance relationship? At least twice or 3 times that.
Wow.
Yes, because you see, it's not the same when I'm talking to you on the phone.
No, but he may lose interest. She may not be interested anymore.
Then let them go. If they lose interest, then they're not the right person. If you want something desperately enough, you wait for it. But why am I going to rush and rush in and rush out? Which is what happens to a lot of people. You see, when a person is far away, you don't know them. You don't know them. You see, when I call you once a week, I'm going to, even if I'm angry, I'm going to put on my best face.
Sure.
But if we meet face to face and I'm angry, you know I'm angry. You see it in my face. You see?
Okay. So what if we lived in close proximity to each other, like in London, in the same borough, and we saw each other every day? I would have more exposure to that person. Is a 6-month period even good enough?
Still not good enough. Because seeing somebody is not the same as knowing them. Knowing about somebody is not the same as knowing. I know a lot about David Beckham. But I don't know David Beckham.
You don't know him. True.
No. So I think we need to be careful about that too. Just the fact that you've been seen. Because when if you see me on the train and I know I'm going to see you, I'm going to put on my best shirt every day. Especially if I find you attractive, I'm going to put on my best shirt. I'm going to put on my best eau de toilette. I'm going to be the courteous gentleman. But if you get to know me, you find that what you are seeing on the train is not the same as you see when I'm with my brother or sister or with my friends. You don't see me when I lose my cool, when I'm driving and I cut somebody off or somebody cuts me off and I go berserk. Wow. See, those are things that you're going to have to live with if you did not know that they existed.
Pastor, the singleness thing is not that easy then.
It is actually that easy. I'll tell you what it is. It's instead of people fussing about getting married, why don't you maximize the time of your singleness? You see, like now that I'm married, I can't just get up and go to Birmingham on a whim. I can't go. I have sons and daughters in church, spiritual sons and daughters, who they travel very regularly when they want. They just decide, oh, we're going to Barcelona this week. Oh, next month we're going to we're going to Japan. You know, I have to do 1 year or 2 years pre-planning because I have a family.
Really?
I have a wife, I have children, I have responsibilities. So your time of singleness is the time when you explore the possibilities of what is open to you. Travel broadens the mind. Broaden your mind. Go out and see a lot of the world. That's also the time to... is there a qualification you wanted to get? That's a good time to get it. Because once you get married, you have children, you can't go to school anymore. You can, but it's much more difficult. You struggle. Do you want to learn a new language? While you're single is the best time to do it. You want to get a new job outside of, you want to go on a year abroad and a gap year or whatever. It's single. The time of single, or to volunteer, yes. The time of your singleness time is a time to do all those things, you know. Because when somebody comes along, you get yoked to somebody.
And you have to negotiate.
Come and you have to negotiate. And it becomes irresponsible to do some of those things that you could freely do when you were single. So singleness it shouldn't be a burden. It should be an exciting prospect of this. Let me be the best that I can be while I'm waiting for the best that could come.
Pastor, you've given us a lot of food for thought. What you're saying is that the singles have a lot to do and should be maximizing their time, the opportunities available to them, and how much of their potential they can achieve during that period.
That's the point. That's exactly the point.
Thank you so much. There's been too many nuggets for me to summarize all up, but I think it's been educational, it's been enlightening in terms of what we think singleness should be and what actually it is in reality.
Once again, I apologize on behalf of the pastors. You're single. You're not diseased. You're not any less of a human being. You are beautifully and fearfully and wonderfully made, and you are the workmanship of God, created in Christ Jesus unto good works, which He had before you were born ordained that you should walk in them. Start walking in them, and God will bring your helper along. God bless you.